What's going on, guys? So in this video I'm going to be giving you guys a tier ranking of all the teams that are in the playoffs and the play-in. So title favorites, the playoff run, teams to look out for, teams that could win a series, first round exits, and teams that won't even make past the play-in. So we're going to be starting off with the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the Atlanta Hawks have drawn the Chicago Bulls in the first playing game, and even if they do play, they do beat Chicago, they'd have to play the loser of the Miami Philly game, and that's obviously a really tough draw with playoff Jimmy and obviously Embiid coming back and Maxey being trouble now that he's developed as a really good player for Philly. Um, I just don't think they make it past the play-in, because that's a really tough draw, and so even with Trey Young and Bogdanovich coming off the bench, Clint Capella, DeJounte Murray, those guys being able to shoot threes. Obviously, the ideal situation is they win both games, but I mean, even then, it's tough because these teams are incredible. Yeah, that's just the story for Atlanta this year. Now, moving on to the Boston Celtics, far and above the best team in the NBA. They're one of the title favorites. I mean, they've gotten Kristaps Porzingis, who is a guy that can stretch the floor and be able to shoot threes. They haven't been able to get a big that could shoot threes. Obviously, Rob Williams is a great center, but he was just hurt. Defensively, Rob Williams was great, but Porzingis has been an imposing figure down low. And the post game for the Boston Celtics has significantly improved. Last year, they were like 23rd in the league in possessions where they posted up. This year, they're like in the top five. And that just goes to show how good the Celtics have gotten. And obviously, they got Drew Holiday instead of Marcus Smart. That really helped their defense. And Drew Holiday is just a great facilitator. He's able to be a good playmaker and, create these open looks for Tatum and Brown to make plays and be able to go to the bucket and score points. And this team just incredible. Easily the best team in the league. Only team with 60 wins. What Brad Stevens has done there is incredible. And this year is a title or a bust for the Celtics. If they don't win, they just have to blow it up. So, yeah, Boston Celtics are one of the title favorites. Now, moving on to the Chicago Bulls, same story as Atlanta, except if they lose, they're out of the playoffs. They don't have Zach LaVine. They lost him a couple of months ago because of a season-ending foot surgery. Now, they do have Andre Drummond to help them get rebounds down low. They do have Kobe White and Alex Caruso, being able to put up points. And Kobe White's definitely developed in a really good young player for Chicago. But I don't see the Chicago Bulls doing it this year, man. Hopefully, they can get a guy to help them, but I just don't see the Chicago Bulls beating the Atlanta Hawks. They're going to be out of the play-in fairly quickly. Now, moving on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, obviously last year was disappointing. They ended up with a 3 seed, but they lost to the New York Knicks. In the first round, I believe they lost in 5. But Donovan Mitchell has gotten help in the form of Max Strus. Obviously, Darius Garland is developed into a really good point guard. Jared Allen's been doing really good. And, I mean, I could see Cleveland, they could be like kind of a threat because, we saw them come back against the Boston Celtics back in early March. And even though they slipped to the 4th seed, they have to play the Orlando Magic. So you never know. They could make a decently deep playoff run. So obviously, Evan Mobley helping out Jared Allen down low. That's just a really a front court duo that you really have to fear in the post. And yeah, I mean, Cleveland could be a team that teams have to worry about. Moving on to the Dallas Mavericks, I could see them winning a series, but other than that, I don't really see them doing much because their defense isn't all too terrific. I mean, Kyrie's been absolutely crushing it these past few weeks. Luka's been doing Luka things, and they have a great supporting crew. Derek Lively's an incredible young player for them. Obviously, they have Tim Hardaway Jr. He's been doing some cool stuff. Dante Exum's been doing good stuff. I mean, they have a tough draw in the Clippers first round, and because of their lackluster defense, I can't see them getting past the Clippers in they have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook. They always have James Harden, who's been incredible for them. But I mean, they could pull it out against the Clippers. You never know. The Clippers have been kind of falling off, but yeah, you never know. I just don't see Dallas doing much other than potentially winning a series. Now, moving on to the Denver Nuggets, I think it's clear they're one of the title favorites. I mean, they're the defending champions. They've been incredible this year. I mean, they have arguably the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic, who's averaged he's 1 assist away from a triple double, like average wise, and I mean, he's just been incredible for them, and there's really no stopping him. All you can try and do is stop the other guys around him and have Jokic carry, and that's kind of the key to trying to stop them. But I mean, it's just incredible what he's been able to do. And another thing that is kind of problematic for them is how good they are with Jokic off the court. I mean, even though Jamal Murray's really good, KCP's really good, Aaron Gordon's just incredible. You know, Christian Braun's been doing some really fun stuff. He's been incredible for Denver. But I mean, without Jokic on the floor, they're not really doing much. They're just kind of like a lackluster team. But with Jokic on the floor, they're like completely unstoppable. And I think the key is to be able to stop Jokic. I can see them making it out again out of the West and maybe playing the Celtics in the finals. Who knows? Golden State Warriors, I mean, they've had a pretty disappointing year. I mean, they are currently the 10 seed, so they're going to have to play Sacramento. I could see them. I mean, Steph Curry. I mean, they have so much playoff experience, you know, with Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, obviously Steph. Trace Jackson Davis is really good. Brendan Pajemski's a really good young guard. He's been filling in Jordan Poole shoes really well. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, they've just been like, I could see them winning a series. But I mean, other than that, they're just old. But I mean, Steph Curry's going to do Steph Curry things. He could very well prove me wrong. They could win a series, but other than that, they're not really going to do much. They haven't been what they were in like the mid-2010s. Now, the Indiana Pacers, I could definitely see them winning a series. Now, they were one of the most shocking teams in the Eastern Conference to me. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton has developed into one of the best point guards in the game. I'd say he's like one of the best guards in the league, and he's developed into a phenomenal playmaker. Obviously, they got Pascal Siakam that's going to help them out. And he has some playoff experience with the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, Miles Turner is a really good young guy. They obviously have a Jalen Smith. And I could see Indiana beating Milwaukee because Milwaukee hasn't been all that good. So, yeah, I could see Indiana coming out and making it to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Moving on to the LA Clippers, I mean, earlier I would have said they're title favorites, but I think they can make a deep playoff run just because they've hit quite a bit of a skid. And, I mean, you obviously have Kawhi Leonard, one of the best two-way players in the league. Paul George he's a really good deep bag, and I mean, he's just such a versatile player. Obviously, James Harden, a really good pickup for them, and Russell Westbrook off the bench, one of the best bench players in the league. I could see them making a deep playoff run, but I mean, the West is like completely stacked with Denver, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and they also have to worry about teams like the Lakers. I mean, LeBron's doing LeBron things. Speaking of whom, the Lakers, I mean, I could see them winning a series. I don't know. The Lakers are tough because last year they were a playing team and they made it all the way to the conference finals. I don't know. I mean, this year they've been just as disappointing. They were supposed to be really good with the role players they got. They got Gabe Vincent off of Miami. But I mean, it's just been like the LeBron and the AD show. Obviously, Austin Reeves has been a really good player for them. But I could see them winning a series or two. But other than that, I mean, with the competition, with how the West is like shaping up, it's just hard for the Lakers to make it far. But I mean, again, they could prove me wrong. They can make it all the way to the finals and, you know, make a case. But you never know. But moving on to the Miami Heat, this is a team we have to look out for. Playoff Jimmy, self-explanatory. I mean, Tyler Hero is just a really good player. Even though they lost Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, they did make a late push. They ended up in the first play-in game. I could see them beating the 76ers in the first play-in game and playing the 2 seed, the New York Knicks, in the first round. I mean, playoff Jimmy's just playoff Jimmy. He's just incredible. But I mean, all you can try to do is contain him. If they contain him, then the role players have to step up. The role players have definitely taken a drop from last year because they lost 2 key guys in Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. Or I don't know that they're going to make a deep run. Now, moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks, they could win a series. A lot of people were thinking they're going to be the best team in the league because they got Damian Lillard. But their perimeter defense, their defense has suffered a lot. In years past, they were one of the best defensive teams in the league. They had such good defensive. With Dame not even having defense in his dictionary, and Giannis and Brook Lopez. I mean, Giannis has that calf strain too, So you never know if he's going to be fully healthy for the playoffs. He wasn't last year; he had a back injury. Obviously, they lost in the first round. So I could see Milwaukee making it to the second round, but other than that, nothing really. I don't see them doing very well. Now, moving on to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I could see them making a deep playoff run, even though they're a really young team. Jokic said that the Wolves are one of the most difficult teams he had to play in the playoffs last year when they played in the first few rounds of the playoffs. Now, obviously, Anthony Edwards is a developing superstar. Obviously, you have Cat back, you have Rudy Gobert. That's definitely an imposing pair of figures down low in the post. Teams trying to drive to the paint. Obviously, you have slow-mo Kyle Anderson. You have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Mike Conley, and Naz Reid, who's a bucket getter. I could see them making a deep playoff run, but I mean, the West is just an absolute bloodbath this year. So, I mean, we could very well see them in the finals. They could make their first finals, but you never know with all the competition. Now, moving on to the New York Knicks, I could see them making a deep playoff run. I mean, Jalen Brunson has developed into a young superstar guard. I could make an argument that he's probably the best guard in the East. I mean, he's incredible what the Knicks have done ever since acquiring OG Anunoby to help their defense out. And even though they don't have Julius Randle for the playoffs, they still ended up with the 2 seed. And with Jalen Brunson being able to score from virtually anywhere, he's just such a versatile, shifty guard. OG Anunoby playing really good defense. Dante DiVincenzo draining balls. Josh Hart. That team's just it's a really good, fun team to watch. And the turnaround they've had from being a play-in team in the earlier few months to being the 2 seed is just incredible. And they could make a lot of eyes or heads turn, and they could make the conference finals. They could even make the NBA finals if they shock everyone. But yeah, that's what I have for the New York Knicks. Now, moving on to the New Orleans Pelicans, they have to play the Lakers. I think they're gonna lose. I mean, they'd have to play the loser of the Warriors and the Kings. I could see them beating the Kings if they end up playing Sacramento. I could see them being first round exits, but I mean, it's very tough. I mean, Zion's been a lot better this year. Obviously, Brendan Ingram's hurt, so we don't know how good that's going to be. They obviously have CJ McCollum, like Jose Alvarado. But I mean, the Pelicans, they were at one point the 4 seed. They could have been seeded, but they just dropped to the play-in. So even if they make it past the play-in, they're going to be first-round exits. And yeah, that's just a story for NOLA. Moving on to the OKC Thunder, I could see them making a deep playoff run. But I mean, they're so young. I don't know. Like Chet Holmgren and SGA. They haven't really had playoff experience. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I'm going to put them in a team to look out for because while they are really good, they obviously have Lou Dort, they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they have Chet Holmgren. What Mark Daniel has done to help the team, Coach of the Year, by the way. What Presti has done as in the front office, as the vision for this team is incredible. And they're just such a good, cool, young team to watch. But I mean, again, like I said, with the bloodbath that is the Western Conference, I can't really see them making it too far because they're so young. It's like the baby Thunder, like when Russ, Harden, and KD were around. But I mean, fun team to watch. Look out for them. You never know. Moving on to the Orlando Magic, they have to play the Cleveland Cavaliers. I could very well see them winning a series. I mean, Paolo Banchero's really good. Wagner's really good. Obviously, you have Jalen Suggs. He's really, really young, good player. I could see the Orlando Magic winning a series, but playing Cleveland is definitely a tough draw. I could see them winning in 7. What they're doing is just incredible. Their turnaround. So you never know. They could make heads turn. They could win a series and go on to the second round. Now, moving on to the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, Tyrese Maxey's trouble. He's developed into a really young player. But, I mean, Joel Embiid just disappears in the playoffs. And with his knee injury that he's been babying, even though he's been really good, he gets to the line a lot. He gets points. That's how they win games. But, I mean, I don't know. I could see them winning a series. I think you should look out for them just because of Tyrese Maxey and, you know, they're just young. They have a good young squad, and with Joel Embiid back, you know, maybe that injury could have helped him. He could, be less rusty for the playoffs, and he could make a deep playoff run. And Nick Nurse especially has playoff experience with Toronto Raptors, so maybe his insight can help. Even though they had Doc Rivers last year, that didn't help their case, but this year they have Nick Nurse, so you never know with the Philadelphia 76ers. Moving on to the Phoenix Suns, this is definitely a team you have to look out for. I think they're not a team that can make a deep playoff run just because Bradley Beal's injury prone. Obviously, Booker doesn't really play defense. Kevin Durant is just Kevin Durant. There's really nothing you can do to guard. Probably the most versatile scorer in the NBA. They're a 6 seed. They could make a deep playoff run, but I mean, again, the West is just crazy. I don't know. Probably not going to happen. Now, last but not least, moving on to the Sacramento Kings. It hurts me. I love the Kings. Obviously, Mike Brown's a great coach. De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis. All of those guys are incredible. And last year they were the 3 seed, but this year they dropped to the 9 seed. I can't see them beating Golden State. That playoff experience is just too much for them to handle. And, I mean, maybe next year they could be seeded again. They could be like a top 5 seed in the West, but this year is just so crazy, and Golden State might be too much to handle for them. And yeah, that's pretty much the ranking. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch the video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow me on all my socials. The links are down below. And comment down below what you think. I know this is going to be really controversial, but hope you guys enjoyed. And this is TriPay Sports signing off. Peace out.